Hello everyone, Quentin here with Eagle 3D Streaming. We have a great video for you today. In this video, I will show you how to pixel stream over the internet using AWS. Let's jump right into it. It's time to pixel stream over the internet. This part of the video is going to go over all the steps necessary to pixel stream over the internet. The first thing that I always like to do is to check to make sure you have all the proper dependencies. First thing is go into Device Manager, make sure you have your driver, and make sure you have your built application. Unreal Engine, in this instance it's Unreal Engine 5.2. The next thing I'm going to do is, let's first confirm that we are able to pixel stream locally. I go into Card Configurator, Samples, Pixel Streaming, Web Servers, Signaling Web Server, Platform Scripts, CMD, and double click on Run Local. I'm going to open my browser and type in localhost. And I click it and pixel streaming is running. Now if I close my signaling server, what happens? We can see that localhost now is failing to connect. And this is important for me to show everyone just to make sure that you do need your signaling server running in order for pixel streaming to occur. I'm just going to again start my signaling server right here, and we are waiting. I can click refresh, and now I'm back pixel streaming. The other thing that you need to double check and confirm if you do have issues is make sure that your Unreal Engine application is running, because the two things you always have to have running are your UE app and your signaling server to pixel stream. Alright, now let's pixel stream over the internet. You'll notice that right now I am pixel streaming to the local host. If I want to pixel stream over the internet, then instead of pixel streaming to local host, I have to pixel stream using the public IP address of my EC2 instance, because this is the way that the internet identifies the location of my EC2 instance through the public IP address of this instance. AWS has a nice feature where it actually lists the public IP address of your EC2 instance in the top right corner. All I need to do is type in that public IP address, and that will actually redirect me to the address of this EC2 instance. You'll also notice it didn't work. And the reason why it didn't work is because with AWS, you first have to specify your inbound firewall rules within the EC2 instance before you're able to pixel stream. So if you receive this message and you're able to pixel stream locally, it's probably because you haven't set your inbound firewall rules. The way that I do that is I first go to Windows and I type in firewall, and I then go to Windows Firewall Defender. After I select Windows Defender Firewall, I click on Advanced Settings, which brings me to this screen, and I'm going to set some inbound rules. I click on Inbound Rules, and then I go to New Rule, and I select Port. I click Next. I select TCP. I click All Local Ports. And again, this is just for demo purposes. This isn't for production. Discuss with your IT team on your proper ports for your inbound security rules. But in this case, I'm doing TCP, all local ports. I click Next. Allow the connection, applies to all. I click Next, and I'll just specify this as inbound TCP. Inbound TCP. I click Finish, and now I have my inbound TCP role. The next thing I'm going to do, and you'll notice that the screen has changed, which is a good sign, but I'm also going to allow UDP. So I do the same thing. I create a rule, but this time I select UDP, I select all local ports, I click Next, allow the connection, Next, and then I do inbound, if I could spell, inbound UDP, and I click Finish. Okay, so now I have my inbound UDP and TCP rules. And what do we have here? We are now pixel streaming to using the public IP address of the EC2 instance. We are definitely making progress, but as you've probably noticed, this is still within the existing EC2 instance, and we're not truly pixel streaming over the internet. So here comes the grand finale. I have a browser open now on my computer located in Dallas, Texas, and my EC2 instance, as we all know, is located in Oregon. That means that if I want to pixel stream over the internet from my computer located about, 2,000 miles away from Oregon, then the way that I do that is I select this IP address and I place it into the browser. Now before I hit enter, let me explain what we're doing. Over on the right is my local PC located in Dallas, Texas, and this EC2 instance is located in Oregon. That means that if I would like to pixel stream to Dallas, the way that I connect to this EC2 instance located in Oregon is through its public IP address. That also means in order to pixel stream over the internet, you need a public IP address. I've entered it into my browser tab located in Dallas, and I press enter. And good sign, I see this screen, and now I click to start. And I wait, and it gets hung up. This is something else that may happen to you while trying to pixel stream over the internet, is you could get hung up on this screen. And the reason why this commonly occurs is because a turn server, which is sort of a middleman, is actually necessary to negotiate the connection between your EC2 instance and the browser that you're trying to stream from. Because you can see that pixel streaming is working locally here, but when I try to connect to that same instance from Dallas, it doesn't work. And the way to fix this is to add a turn server when you start up your signaling server that acts as a middleman to allow pixel streaming to happen. The way that we do that is first I'm going to close my application, and I'm also going to close my signaling server. And just to make sure that we're doing this from scratch, I'm also going to close my game so that the game itself is not running. After I've closed everything, now let's add a turn server into our configuration so that we can pixel stream successfully over the internet. The way that I do that is I return to my car configurator, files, and I'll just start at the very beginning. I go to Windows, car configurator, samples, pixel streaming, web servers, signaling web server, platform scripts, CMD, and instead of running local, I am now going to start with turn and signaling server. I'm going to double click on that, and you'll see that it brings up Notepad, which is not what you want. If you see this screen, that means that your signaling server is not running. The way that you actually run this script is right click on it and then click run with PowerShell. And now PowerShell will start up, and it will run both a signaling server and a turn server, which is what you are looking for. Now that I have my signaling and turn server running, I'm going to start my Unreal Engine application by double clicking on this shortcut, and you can see that it started. Now that I have my signaling server, turn server, and Unreal Engine application running, I'm ready to see if I can pixel stream over the internet. The way that I'm going to demonstrate this is, again, I have my EC2 instance located in Oregon over on the left side of my screen, and this browser is located here in Dallas, Texas. I click refresh, I see the click to start button, I click to start, and voila, I have my wonderful pixels on my screen, which means that I am now able to successfully pixel stream my Unreal Engine application. By the way, if you feel like doing none of this, my friends, there is a very easy way to pixel stream easily over the internet, and it is Eagle 3D streaming. All you have to do is just go to your control panel, which is easy to create an account, create a free account, sign in, and after you sign in, just upload your Unreal Engine application. You can do that by going here, just add your Unreal Engine app. After that's done, click Play App, and your app will immediately start streaming over the internet. Just saying, there's some options. In the last part of the tutorial, I'm going to show you how to always ensure that your EC2 instance is findable over the internet by creating a elastic IP, which essentially will always be associated with your EC2 instance so that you can always find your EC2 instance over the internet. All right, now that we have successfully pixel streamed over the internet, the last thing that you may be interested in doing is always having the same IP address associated with your EC2 instance. The reason why you would want to do this is because this is the actual address that you use to connect to your EC2 instance. So if you're sharing this with anyone, then you'd want the URL to stay the same, which would be your public IP address rather than changing your public IP address. And if you're wondering, well, why would the IP address change? By default, when you create your EC2 instance, AWS does give it a public IP address. But what happens is if you do not follow the steps that I'm about to share, this IP address can actually change. So if you turn off your instance and then turn it back on, there's a chance that you may get a different public IP address, which means that if it has a different public IP address, well, then you can no longer pixel stream using that same IP address that you're using. You'd have to update it. So to prevent some headaches and frustration, I'm going to show you the steps to prevent that. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go into our EC2 instance and we're going to have to update our car configurator shortcut. And what we are going to update it to is for it to specify, instead of localhost, let's actually put in the public IP address of the EC2 instance. This means that we are now hard coding the public IP address to the EC2 instance, which will be helpful in case you always want to connect to the same IP address for your EC2 instance. The next thing I need to do is I need to go into my shortcut. I just right-clicked on my shortcut and went back to properties, and I am going to, instead of localhost, let's put in the public IP address, 52.39.159.243. I click apply and OK, and now I'm going to go into task manager, and I'm going to I had a game already running, so I'm going to close that game. Now I have no Unreal Engine games running. I do have, by the way, in case you were wondering, I do have my signaling server and turn server running because we're over the internet. You will probably want a turn server, and now I'm going to start my game again. Alright, the game has started. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my browser, which is located in Dallas. I'll click refresh and I will click start, and voila, we're still pixel streaming, which is great. And that's the end of today's video. Thank you guys for watching till the end. I will see you all in another future video. Until then, take care.
Upload your first Unreal Engine project on our pixel streaming platform for free. To create an account, go to account.eagle3dstreaming.com/sign up and get a free 7 days trial. Eagle 3D Streaming, it's just easier.